You're an idiot. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy Halloween. I hope you guys are all having an amazing day so far and you're having just a great time. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays ever, so I love to go all out. And today we have some really fun foods. So, first of all, yes, this is a pumpkin. I got a small pumpkin and I cut the top off. It's actually right here. Yeah. Anyway, inside I made some lasagna soup. I've been wanting to try making lasagna soup for a long time now, and I didn't follow a recipe. I kind of just threw some stuff together, so I'll write what I did in the description box below. But then I put it inside a pumpkin because I thought it would be cute. And then I also made an ube cheesecake, except you can't really call it cheesecake. I don't know what to call it because it's not a cheesecake. It's more like a mousse cake. It's pretty much how I made my pumpkin spice cheesecake, which I'm still working on the recipes. So it's not cheesecake, but they always end up tasting like cheesecake, which is really weird because there's not vegan cream cheese in it. I have a vegan cream cheese white chocolate cheesecake on my channel, but I just really like these versions better. They taste better to me. I don't know, still working on the recipe, so let me know what you think. My last pumpkin spice cheesecake video blew up. YouTube pushed that into the algorithm and I love that, but also I got a lot of kind of crazy comments, which a lot of them were justified, but a lot of them were completely unnecessary. So Brandon and Kelsey are so sweet. They told me not to look at the comments and that they would monitor them for me because they know that I'm sensitive. So I'm so grateful for them. And if you commented, thank you so much. It's just crazy. That video blew up. So a lot of people who don't understand mukbangs and veganism were definitely hating on that video, but it's okay. It's all part of the growth. So that was the spookiest thing that's happened to me this year. And speaking of spooky, today I'm going to be talking about your guys' scary stories. I asked you guys to send me your scary stories for a video, so I'm going to be telling some of those today. And I got quite a few, so I'm very excited for today's video. But before I jump into anything, put on some PJs and come hang out with me. Dessert first. I'm very excited for this. So from now on, I think I'm just going to call these mousse cakes or something. Even though they taste like cheesecakes. I think I'm still going to title this one Ube Cheesecake, depending on how it tastes. I mean, I've never had an ube cheesecake before, so I can't really tell you. I didn't get any of the crust, but I made an Oreo crust and then the ube cheesecake, not cheesecake. And then I put frosting on top that I colored with activated charcoal. So natural coloring. Okay, let's try it. Oh my gosh. The crust is unbreakable. Crust of steel. Oh, also I use gluten-free Oreos too, so it's a gluten-free recipe. Come on, I want some Oreos. There we go. It's a thick crust, that's probably why it's so hard to get at. Well, I got the cheesecake off the pan. Sorry, the not cheesecake. That Oreo crust is so good. Well, the knife cut through the crust. Oh yeah, it's super thick. Alright, the first one is from Rebecca S-SB4HQ. When I was a kid, my parents bought an old townhouse to do up and we lived in it when it was being renovated. We stripped the walls and in the bathroom there was, in certain light, a young girl's face like in a frame, and she was always in that one room. We were told that she was stuck, as she was murdered by her uncle, and because she has unfinished business, she is stuck in that room. We later found an old storybook in the crevice of the walls when renovating the laundry about the naughty girl who got stuck in a shoe. Kind of random and scary. That is really random and scary and creepy. Like, that's not just a coincidence. And that's also really, really sad if that story is true. Alright, next one is from Silsila781. Hi Cambria sis. Hi. I have a story to share. It happened with my friend Sarah. So it was an afternoon time and she was alone in her home. Her whole family went out for someone's death ritual. I'm assuming that means funeral. But she was not feeling well, so she stayed home. She was taking a nap and suddenly she heard a weird noise as if someone was breathing right near her ears. At first she thought maybe it was her own breath, but then she held her breath and checked, and the noise was still there. It was as if some bedridden person was gasping for air. So she got so scared and went to check what it was. And as she was moving toward her kitchen, the noise got even louder, as if someone was actually there. She got so scared and ran away from there and waited outside her house till her family came back. That's creepy. And I've had like noise or like breaths in my ear before. I talked in, what video was it? I don't remember what video it was. I talked about, oh, I think it was my pumpkin video. I talked about scary work experiences and how I experienced it was almost like a breath in my ear. Why do I keep saying that? A breath in my ear, but also there was like a voice. It was really creepy, very disconcerting, and I ran out of there as fast as I could. This is just water. Let me clean off my spoon real quick so I can dig into the lasagna soup. Alright, I have Daya's vegan mozzarella on top. Ooh, it's still really hot. Well, I don't know. It's steaming. Yeah, it's still hot. Oh no, my pasta. Okay, let's try it. That was crazy. So it's very thick because I prefer thicker soups. So it's pretty much I don't even know, not a soup, but still a soup. Don't listen to me, I don't know what I'm talking about. Alright, just 1823 has 2. They said, I was in the hospital for health problems and I was alone in my room. It was late. I had started to sleep except that my room door opened. At first I thought, oh, just a nurse coming to take my vitals, except that the light didn't turn on and instead I saw a guy coming in as if it was his room. He started to head towards my bed, but luckily a nurse came by and quickly got him out of the room. I pretended to be asleep, but I didn't sleep a wink all night. To make matters worse, the next day I spoke to a nurse who very calmly said to me, oh, he's the crazy patient of the ward. He managed to escape from his room in the night. It's usual. Okay. You guys need to take better care of your patients. It's creepy. That's extra creepy because people are scarier than ghosts because people can definitely do more harm than ghosts most of the time. So that could have ended up being not a great situation. So I'm glad you were okay. Yeah, that's scary. Then their next story. Another sadder but still very scary situation. A man who was in the next room had a huge infection because of a bacteria that lodged into his implantable chamber. It's to make the chemotherapy drugs pass more easily. In the treatment room that same morning, I was next to him. He was muttering things because of the fever, and in the evening it had worsened and he had illusions because of the high fever. He started to become violent, and during the night a nurse took him to the emergency room to save him because he almost died. But the nurses told me that he was really a miracle because he should not have survived since that very morning. Wow, that's definitely very scary. More so that it's just a scarier situation because he could have died. But the fact that like he was alive until then that's incredible. And thank you for sharing those stories. Alright, so this next one's from Hadley K8655. They said, okay, so my best friend used to live in this old house out in the middle of nowhere. I'd stay over there all the time, even though it was super creepy. Well, one day we were upstairs in our bedroom, and then we went downstairs to get a snack, and all of the drawers and cabinets were open. And I'm sure no one opened them, because it was just her mom there at the time, and she was outside. I don't know, it freaked us out so bad, we just left it. The house also creaked a lot and made weird noises. I'm just glad she doesn't live there anymore. Yeah, I'd be glad too. That's really creepy. I've seen videos of that, and I can't say that they're real, because I don't know. But that's terrifying, and I'm glad you're okay, and I'm glad she doesn't live there anymore. Sub the Egg said, when I moved into my first house ever with my son who was entering the 5th grade at the time, he drew a bunch of pictures and taped them in various places. That's never a good start. On cabinets, the wall. One was a grave in grass with a person standing holding a knife. Another was a perfect sunflower like from the field in that Kristen Stewart movie about the haunted house, and a crazy neighbor with the actor from Big Fat Greek Wedding. This creeped me the F out. Yeah, no, like I said, kids' drawings are always not a good start. Like, when there's a movie and there's kids' drawings, you always know that's going to be a horror movie. Sorry, I didn't realize my face was, like, half out of frame. Also, there is no influence of pumpkin either. I made sure to scrape all of the filling out as much as possible, and I don't taste any pumpkin. But even if I did, I think that would be like a good addition to a lasagna soup lasagna, half soup lasagna thing. I think this front part is just really thick, like the crust layer. I think that's why it's been so hard to get at. My inner demon is speaking again. Oh yeah, look how thick that crust is. That's crazy. It has a really good texture though. Alright, so the next story is from Autumn in the Alps. They said, "Hi Cambria." Hi. "So my scary story happened in the summer 2019 to 2020. Keep in mind that I'm from Argentina, so summer here's from December to March. And also keep in mind that we were very young at the time. It all started with a sleepover at my cousin's. Let's call her Barbara. Barbara and I were around the same age, her being 1 year and a few months younger than me. Then there was my other older cousin, Karina, and my other cousin, her brother, Marcus. Marcus and Karina didn't typically participate in our sleepovers anymore because they were getting older and it just wasn't their kind of thing. Me and my cousin usually stayed up all night, all summer nights, or we would sleep very little." I had my fair share of doing that. A lot. "That night, all four of us decided to sleep in Karina's room. For context, their house was in a little corridor, per se, that had other houses. It's like a little neighborhood, and my cousin's house had a rooftop with a little room that was Karina's. That's where we slept. Backstory, it was very dark around 12 a.m. and the only lights were in the street and her room. We were talking about something I can't remember, but then a phone starts ringing. Surely a call at midnight is something to raise suspicions upon, and even more when it's an anonymous number. 7 days. Karina, ever the brave one, and the eldest of us all answers it. The man on the other end starts saying that he knows where we live and sends a picture of the house to my cousin's Instagram. He starts telling us that the second we get out is gonna get ugly, and at that point Barbara and I were hyperventilating truly. The call ended and we were all scared and didn't know what to do. Should we wake up our aunt? How does he know us? What does he want? Hours passed. We didn't want to sleep because we knew it was easy for the person to climb through the roofs and get us. At 4 a.m., Marcus starts laughing and says, "Guys, it was a joke." When I tell you, I was shocked to my core. He had told his friend to prank call us, but it went out of his hands. Anyway, traumatic experience that had me and Barbara crying and hugging, thinking it was our last night alive, but well, it's a story to tell now, I guess. Definitely, that's really creepy, and like if that really did happen, once again, like I said earlier, people are more dangerous than ghosts, and it's scary. It is scary when things like that happen. And I'm really glad that it was just a joke. As much as that is annoying, at least you're safe. So, alright, next one. Meta Juegos Original. I definitely said that so wrong. I'm so sorry. But they said, when I was little, I remember going to the cemetery with my parents to visit a relative's grave during the Day of the Dead. And I saw a child's grave with a pinwheel and other toys. I remember straying off the main path to see the grave, and for some reason I said, "Can you spin it?" Nobody was around, but for some reason the pinwheel started spinning as if there was a strong wind, but there wasn't. Then I said stop, and the toy stopped spinning. And then I asked to spin it again, and it did. I guess the kid was happy to play with me a little bit. Anyway, I just left, but I still remember because it was so unusual. But I guess sweet. Hope that kid is at peace. That's actually a very sweet story, and I love hearing stories like that because it's very hopeful, you know? And as much as it can be a little bit disconcerting at times, if it really is that little boy, I think that is so sweet, and he probably definitely appreciated playing with you for a little bit, so thank you for sharing that. Alright, next one. Raise the Dead Poet said, I've had one of my younger cousin's dolls follow me around the house when I was alone at home once. I went to the lounge and found it on the sofa. When I went to the room, it was sitting on the ironing board. No. Many things scare me, but I don't think many things scare me more than possessed and haunted dolls. That is a no for me. Thank you very much. There are crumbs all over my floor. I'm such a mess. Anyway, that was absolutely delicious. I am going to read a few more stories and then take a few more breaths, and then I'm gonna be done. The next story is from A_thing666. They said, my family used to live in a huge mansion in the city built over farmland, which was also a graveyard. Of course. Back between the 60s to early 90s. Long story short, it was haunted. Could have guessed. My family guesses that there were around 10 or so ghosts/spirits. they encountered throughout the decades. Now for some clearance, I should say that the house itself was built from stone, since my family lived in a Middle Eastern country at the time. So I very much doubt what they experienced was due to animals living in the walls or gas leaks, since there were no factories like that near. Unlike what I see a lot in Western ghosts/haunting stories, the ghosts tormented my family mostly physically. Yes, there was the occasional banging against the walls or screams, but they'd appeared to have full-formed bodies with physical strength most of the time, or at least the ones who liked to scare/hurt them did. Dang, that's incredibly strong energy. There were 5 that very pointedly targeted various members of my family: an old man dressed as an elderly sheik, a pair of old women, and a younger man with her always, mother and son maybe, a young woman, and a little boy. The old man was the most physically violent. He'd often literally slap, grip, and pull at my grandma, grandpa, mom, and an uncle. Even people visiting or staying the night, even in front of other people. The mother and son would go after younger people, teens and children, breaking toys/dolls, mirrors, and sometimes plates or furniture, and sometimes physically assault people as well. The young woman targeted my mom specifically, often appearing behind or around her when she was alone in a room and screaming in her face. The boy only appeared when they were children. My aunt says he'd say cruel things about hurting her siblings, parents, or her cat until she was crying, but they stopped seeing him when they got older. You're probably wondering why my family didn't move out sooner, or at least hire some kind of exorcist. In Islam and what many Muslims believe in, the supernatural/paranormal isn't something they strongly believe in. Daily prayer, Quran reading, fasting, and such is believed to be more than enough to counter any malevolent spirits. Also, my family didn't really tell anyone about it because they didn't want that reputation or the house's price getting affected in case they sell it, which they did. Oh, that's crazy. Oh my goodness. That's probably the craziest story I've ever heard. And the fact that your family endured all of that, you must have a really strong family, because most people would have moved out, and I know that a lot of their choices has to do with religion, but still, I can't believe that the spirits are so strong there. A lot of them have probably been there for decades, if not centuries. That's insane. And I'm glad that no one was hurt worse than what you've explained. I don't know, man. Thank you for sharing that. That's intense. And honestly, unfathomable. Like, I feel like my reaction isn't doing it justice, you know? But like I said, it's just so unfathomable. Alright, so the last stories are from Harry Irish Princess. They said, I have a couple of scary experiences that actually happened to me. Over 5 years ago, during my senior year of high school, the day started out normal and my first class of the day went on as usual. But once we got to our second class, there was an announcement that we were going in lockdown. I thought it was a drill at first, but we stayed in our second period class on lockdown for the entire day. Toward the end, we went to the cafeteria and got lunch, then I got on the bus and went home right afterwards. I told my mom what happened, and she said that she'd heard that some students at my high school had gotten arrested that day for bringing weapons onto school property, which I guess caused the lockdown. My mom kept me home from school the next day for my safety because of it. That actually happened quite a few times at the high school that I went to. Not when I was going there, but a few years after I graduated after COVID and kids were actually physically going to school. A lot of kids would bring weapons to school. It was actually really scary because my brother was going to that high school at that time. Everything ended up being okay, but yeah, it's not fun. The next scary experience happened while I was watching a scary movie with my mom. She had this music box that she got from a vacation home that she cleaned, and was told that someone had passed away there. While my mom and I were watching a scary movie, the music box, which was in the living room with us, suddenly started playing by itself, and nobody even touched it. My mom looked at me and asked if I believed in ghosts when that happened, which I do believe that there is an afterlife, but I'm not entirely sure. That sounds very similar. If you guys don't know, we have a haunted toy. I don't think it's haunted anymore. I don't know why we still have it, but it used to turn on by itself, and we took the batteries out. Still turned on a few times after that. Anyway, don't know why we still have it. It doesn't do anything anymore. I think it's broken. Thank goodness. But yeah, if you want to know the full story, I'll link that video. This is gonna be my last piece. I love how the black fades into the purple like that. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. Thank you to those of you who sent in stories. Thank you for being willing to share, because things like that can be really creepy. And I'm glad you were all okay. If you guys enjoy videos like this, make sure to let me know. I hope you guys have an amazing Halloween. Let me know if you're dressing up and what you dress up as. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, if you want to see more. And don't forget to subscribe. By the way, it's free. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.